everyone. Kate Payne here from Standing Out Online, and welcome to my Coffee with Kate show. I am thrilled to introduce my friend and guest today, Mandy Penn of Mandy Penn Photography. Good morning or afternoon.
Good afternoon. Morning.
Thanks for being here.
Of course. Of course.
So this is going to be a really fun conversation, and it's going to be hopefully really helpful. So this is all about camera confidence. Okay. So Mandy has been a longtime photographer. She's got her master's degree in photography, and she has done newborn portraits. She's done senior portraits, which she still does. We're going to talk a little bit about her friend's picture. Do you have that picture handy by any chance? Okay, I should have thought of that before. It's okay. Anyway, we'll just talk about the story because it was featured on Good Morning America. And so now she's helping people who are entrepreneurs, executives who really want to convey their personal brand for their business or through their leadership, and they want to go beyond just the professional headshot. So we are going to dig right in today. And I met Mandy when I moved out to Colorado Springs, which is where she's based. And the other cool thing about what makes Mandy unique as a personal brand photographer is that Mandy has actually been a model. So she's been in front of the camera, and she's really good at being behind the camera because she can guide you because of having those sort of like dual roles. So anyway, Mandy, thank you for being here today.
No, I'm so excited to be here. It's awesome.
Okay. So let's dig right in.
Okay.
So when you and I were together at a retreat a few weeks ago, we did a little live video talking about people feeling awkward on camera, camera confidence, things like that. So a lot of people do feel awkward or shy in front of the camera. In fact, sometimes they might feel it's safer to go and get that structured formulaic headshot because they kind of know what to expect. So when we talk about getting a branding photo shoot done, there's all different ways that you can do that. Right. And what we're really wanting to do is bring out people's personality. So when someone is shy or awkward in front of the camera, or they say to you, I'm just not photogenic, what do you say to that?
So there are a few things I say to that. In all honesty, I think that being photogenic is kind of not a myth, it's a thing, but I think that you've been conditioned, or you've been taught to think that you're not photogenic. You've had a horrible experience, or you see a picture and you have body dysmorphia and you see it and you just don't understand. Also, basically, depending on who's taking your photo can help you feel more comfortable. So if you have a weird experience with a photographer, you're going to feel more scared, more nervous, and then you're going to pick at everything in like on the back of the camera, or when you're picking your photo. So for me, I have people normally when they come in for just traditional headshots, even, I still want to see a little bit about their personality, because otherwise it's going to be very stagnant. It's not going to look like them. People are going to be like, oh, were you upset? Or, oh, you look upset, or you're mad about something, and you don't want that in a headshot. You want to look, presentable, and you want to be friendly. So I kind of ask them about, who they are, what they do, and kind of get a gauge for how they're feeling with me. And then I kind of make some jokes. I kind of make fun of myself. I do a few test shots, and then I do this thing where we carry a lot of tension in our hands. So I have people shake out their hands, and I do it with them so they don't feel weird. And sometimes if they're like being silly, I'll make them like shake out their face, which is really fun. But then that kind of gets them a little more at ease. And I'll say, for most people will be like, oh, I hate my photo taken. I said, oh, well, this won't take very long and you're going to love it. So, and I mean, that normally helps lighten things up and loosen people up.
So when somebody makes an appointment with you for their photo shoot, whether it's just a few images or it's a half day photo shoot, or like me, I did a full day VIP photo shoot with you, which was amazing. Do you meet with them first, no matter what? Do you have like a conversation with them before they even come into your studio? Or how do you work that? Or do you have them come in early to kind of get them at ease on the day of? How do you work that?
Yeah, so it just depends on what they've booked. So most people just come in for one headshot, but normally I know what they're needing ahead of time. If you're doing a branding session where it's going to be more than like 30 minutes or an hour, where you're going to be in my studio, I actually have a questionnaire that I send you. It's about values, your ideal customer, your favorite coffee, stuff like that. And so because I like to cater my experiences to each client. So it kind of depends on what you're booking. So I obviously I love doing branding, but headshots kind of are the same as branding. Branding is just diving in more deep into your business and who you are and who your ideal clients are. So, so I normally, you don't walk in and I just start clicking the camera. I normally ease you in, you get to, you can run to the bathroom.
So you said something really important there, and I'm going to interject. You said something, I customize what I do depending on the person. Like you feel it out. Therein, everybody who's listening to this and who's listening on the replay, that is what makes Mandy so good. She totally takes a look at who you are, what you are, how you do things, your personality. She knows how to read people. It's kind of like me being in the personal brand, from the standpoint of messaging and visibility. I learn who people are. I want the very first thing to do, I want to learn people's origin story as it is aligned and relevant with the work that they do, so that helps build connection. You're doing something kind of similar. It's like, what do you do? What's your favorite part of what you do? Where's your sweet spot? Like, you have your ways of getting to know people, because when you can have that connection with your subject, before they even get in front of the lens, you have a feel for them. And that's what builds trust. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, I've known you for a while, Mandy, so I know you. I think I can just know that that's really important to you, like it is to me. It's like you're in your integrity with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that other photographers aren't doing that either. Every photographer, everybody who's an artist and has their skill, has their own approach and their own style, right? And then it's up to everybody to find their own approach and style and whatever it is that they do. But I love that about you. The night before my VIP shoot, and you and I had a meeting, and we had talked about what clothes I was going to bring. And of course, I was bringing my brand colors: orange, blue, even white. I even brought some stuff that was not my brand colors for other images, which was Mandy's idea. Like, everything doesn't have to be your brand color. And so that was another great tip. But she asked me, how do you like your coffee? What kind of music do you like to listen to? She had a playlist all ready for me. So when I came in that morning, I was just like, wow. And then she has this fabulous makeup and hair person who, they told me how to show up and talk about what you do when you do that for somebody who does get that sort of half day or full day package. Tell them what they get.
Yeah. So with a half day or full day package, you get multiple setups, whether it be in your office. Kate came here because her branding is very clean. So we use this beautiful white background. And actually, you can see on my cute little banner, that is one of the pictures.
Which I didn't know you were doing.
I know. That's like one of my favorite pictures of you, because I caught her in a great laugh. Thank you. So I like to do those just because it's more genuine. But so we talk through that. We talk through basically if we're doing on location, if we're doing in the studio, if we're doing both. It just depends on what package you're needing, or if you're needing like a full year of content or just a few months, or if you're sporadic about your posting and you only need a handful. But for my top 2 packages, you get hair and makeup by the Kim Clay artistry.
She's amazing.
Kim is phenomenal. I have her. I know some other makeup artists, but I don't refer anyone except to Kim, because I know that she does exactly what I want her to do and what my clients love. So if I ever need hair and makeup, that's who I go to. So I trust her with me. So
I told her I'd like her to move in with me, so that every morning when I get up, she could do your hair. Yeah, it'd be nice.
And so that's fun. But I'm still there during that whole process, and I talk to people, and it kind of helps release some tension, because they're getting their hair and makeup done, and then it's not just like going straight into shooting like a normal headshot. So you have that time to kind of, relax and have fun. And Kim's great. We kind of talk. We'll listen to music. I'll still be setting up. I don't have everything set up ahead of time. Sometimes on purpose, because I don't know exactly what they're bringing. So I'll have stuff out and ready, but it's not like I'm just sitting there, you know what I mean? So I'll be doing some stuff, and then she interacts with you, and she's phenomenal. And does a great job at making you look natural, not look over caked on with
Overdone. Yeah.
any.
Because I'm a no makeup kind of person. You know, I'm obviously for certain things, like when you're on stage, you have to have more and all that.
Right.
But it was just such a great experience. So let's switch gears a little bit here. So first of all, I just want to thank everybody who's watching right now. I'm streaming to YouTube, my personal Facebook, and my personal LinkedIn. If anybody is watching right now, you can put a question in the chat, and we can ask Mandy any live questions right here on the show. So don't be shy. And even on the replay, if you're watching this on the replay, if you tag Mandy or I in the question, we can answer your question in a day or 2 weeks or whatever. So keep that in mind. So let's go back to the brand photography topic here.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest misconception that people have about brand photography or personal brand photography? Clear up any confusion about that for people. Because again, I think it's like headshot, brand photography.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So a headshot is normally quick and easy. It's you come in, I disarm you, and then we do a handful of pictures and you pick your favorite out of that. Branding goes more deep into you and your business, as well as you being your business. So when people hire me or someone else, they're not hiring me. They're hiring me for my knowledge, but they're hiring me for me because I am my brand. So, and a lot of misconceptions, I guess, like you asked, is that people are like, well, I don't know what my brand is. And truthfully, you do. You just need to dig deep and see who you are, because you tend to be, you are your brand.
Right.
So that's, I think the biggest misconception is that people don't understand what, branding photography is. It is better as a photographer. I'm super creative and I can help people come up with a brand, but it's better to work with a branding specialist prior to coming and seeing me, because then you have that all laid out for you, and you're not like picking it,
Well, that's kind of what I do with my clients, whether
Right.
they're hiring me for PR or they're hiring me to help them leverage their LinkedIn presence. Is I always say your personal brand equals your reputation.
Yes.
And your reputation is made up of your values, your integrity, certainly your credentials and experience in your career, and even your influence if you've been doing it for a while. So that's kind of like how other people view you for what you do is kind of part of your personal brand. And I love that you say that you do branding photography, because the other distinction is brand is typically the entity. It's like standing out online as my business, or Apple, Nike. You're doing branding for the packaging, the look, the feel. And then there's personal brand, which are more of the people who are speakers, authors, coaches, executives, who are the influencers or the thought leaders, right? And so they bring their personality to their brand. So they have personal brand and brand. So you can do both.
Yeah.
And I just think that you're so good at it. So I think it's also why you're so good at it is because you used to be in front of the camera as a model. So just in a couple minutes, Mandy, share a little bit of a story about your story about when you thought you wanted to go into modeling, and then how doing that is actually what made you realize you wanted to be behind the camera too.
Yeah. So when I was, so I am 39, so almost in my 40s, which is super fun and exciting. But when I was in my early 20s, I started modeling. It's a long story. If you really want to hear it, you can reach out and we can chat about it. But I found a photographer, and I had not the best experience with him. He was very pushy as far as clothing was concerned. And I was really excited, but I wouldn't push the boundary, and he was not happy with that. And so I found that it depended on who I was working with, depended on how much I liked the photos.
Right.
And so I found that some guys make you feel super comfortable. I was married at the time. I'm still married, but I was married at the time. So I never wanted that boundary to be pushed. And so as a photographer, I take that into consideration, and a lot of photographers should. But as a model, I found it to be super like there were certain people that I wouldn't work with because of that. Models talk, people talk, you know what I mean? And so, but anyway, I found some great photographers that wanted to do more concept stuff, more creative stuff, which I really like. We did one where we did a bald cap. I was bald, and we did like a a breast cancer awareness one. It was super cool. I was crying. It was super passionate. And I love the art of storytelling and being able to see more than just an image. You know what I mean? And so I carry that through my branding as well. But basically, I was always the photographer that was like, the model that was like, why are you putting the light there? Oh, why that way? Like, why that? And then I'd look at the back of the camera because that's just who I was. And they're like, why are you so interested? Like, just do what I tell you. And I'm like, I just want to learn. And so then, long story short, I came to Denver. I went to a modeling agency. They picked apart my body. I was probably 5 pounds lighter than I am now. And they were like, you need to lose weight. You need to grow your hair out. You look like a soccer mom. And so I got in the car and cried to Caleb. And he was like, well, I don't, you can't base your life on someone's opinion. And I obviously agreed. But I was like, if I look like a soccer mom, then I might as well start having kids. So then we started that process. And then basically the kids started growing really fast, and Caleb got me a camera because I was a stay-at-home mom because I have twins. And then that's really where that started and that grew, is just the changes that the kids went through. And even me, like, I look at pictures of me from 10 years ago and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a completely different person. Not just
but we evolve, right? Like, we shift and change. It's part of life.
Personality, like the way you hold yourself always changes throughout time. So even if you're in your 20s and you get another picture in your 30s, like, you should be doing that because that's your growth. So, so that's long story, but
I think it is what makes you different. Like, you were helping in my shoot. You were helping sort of pose me a little bit. Like, I can take direction, but you would come in and be like sitting in a chair and be like, well, if you sit like this and you kind of do this with your arm, and I'm like, oh, cool. So it was really helpful to have you sort of guiding me that way. We actually have a question from a listener right now. Hiram Trillo asked, he's watching us from YouTube, what do you think separates a good headshot from a great one?
Oh, that's very nice of you, Adam. So I'm going to say a good headshot from a great one. I think that a great one is going to show your personality. I think personality has a big part to do with a headshot. I see a lot of headshots that are just point and click. And I think that taking someone's personality and putting that into a headshot is, can make or break a headshot. So if that answers your question.
It sure does.
He's actually an amazing photographer himself. And he owns a lighting, he's a CEO of a lighting company that I use.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks for joining us, Hiram. I appreciate you tuning in. All right. So when you're working with a client and you're helping them uncover their story, what kind of things do you uncover about a client during a personal brand photo shoot that they didn't expect?
I feel
I will actually share my experience.
Okay, I'm like,
I've had a lot of photo shoots, as I've told you. I've never had a photo shoot like I did with Mandy, and I feel like it's one of the best photo shoot I've ever had. I'm so thrilled, and we did a year's worth of photos, like, for social media content stuff too. But when she got me to, like, be goofy and do different faces, like this, which is one I would use in social media. Like, I might use it as an image when I'm talking about there's this new change on LinkedIn, let's say, and I don't like it. So I'm like this graphic of me going, and kind of looking. And then after she pulled that out of me, we got like 8 or 9 of different ones being silly. And then that led to something else. And I got so excited about it because I saw the possibility, and I did not expect that.
That's cool. I don't think you've ever told me that. So that's super cool that, and I'm a super big goofball, especially in in my studio, because it's mine, and I'm okay with acting a fool to get someone to smile or to be silly. And so I think that's what helps, is that I put you at ease as well. But I did notice that there are a lot of people that don't expect to be as vulnerable as they tend to be in a branding session, because
so expand on that a little bit. Like, they didn't expect to be as vulnerable. What do you mean by that? Like, what did they get emotional? Did they
not emotional, just more we're digging into people's businesses and what makes them tick. And that can be emotional for people. I've never had anyone cry. yet, thank goodness. But people
You'll
get,
need Kim to stick around to fix their mascara if
I
they're a
know,
woman.
right? Which is awesome. She's great at that. But you're digging into who someone really is. And so I feel like um, just the way I approach my clients, not only as clients, but as friends and with respect, I think that helps a lot. I'm not, I may be an expert, and if you hired me for a reason, so I'm going to give you my opinion, but I ask my clients what they want. I don't just assume, and so even throughout the whole process of the shoot, you brought in a ton of props, and I had ideas, but then I also asked you, like, oh, what do you like? Like, is there something that you want to reenact?
Right.
Because this is a collaboration. It's not just oh, I'm going to take your picture, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do.
Right.
Because that's not, I do that with my high school seniors. Seniors are so much fun. I love them. I will never give them up. But they will actually be like, how do I sit? And I'm like, how would you normally sit? And they're like, oh, and I did that with
Yeah.
you too, Kate.
You did?
I'd be like, sit at the table. Will you, how would you normally sit? Like, let's just talk. And then you get into this natural ease, I guess.
Well, and then you tweaked it, right? So it's like
Right.
you're starting out with somebody being comfortable, and then you're just doing it's almost like fine tuning.
Yeah.
You're not making them do something that they wouldn't do. In fact, let's kind of flip the script a little bit.
Yeah.
There could be people who are listening right now or watching who'd be like, I would really like to do this, but I'm not goofy. Like, I'm not a goofy type of person. So
You don't have to be.
So you don't have to be,
Yeah.
right? So you're gonna find something in them that is their unique, their unique piece of their personality, and
Right.
then spotlight that, so to speak, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, no, but that's true. I mean, you don't have to be goofy. I'm going to be goofy because that's who I am. But
Me too.
I mean, yeah, which is why, we had so much fun. But even
Right.
if you're not goofy or you don't act a fool, like,
Yeah.
okay, that's your personality. And that's what I try to get out of people, or I get
Right.
out of people, because I'm authentic and I want my clients to feel and be their authentic self. I'm not going to make you do something that you would never do,
Right. Right.
But
Which is good. Hiram asks a good follow-up question. How do you handle clients who are overly critical of their appearance? We kind of touched on this about in the beginning, but let's talk about it in the standpoint of what we just talked about.
So, these are good questions, Idam. How do you handle clients who are overly critical of their appearance? So I normally know that ahead of time. So I've had a few families who have had moms, especially, who have body dysmorphia. And I'm very open about, what are you self-conscious about? We all have something. And I always bring up, I'm like, and I will bring my criticalness of myself into it. And I'm like, I'm always critical of my stomach. Doesn't matter how flat it is, how much I've eaten. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm always critical of that. And so bringing that into something also helps people disarm and be like, oh, okay, she's critical about something.
That opens them up, right?
It opens them up. So, so I do Photoshop. I'm not going to make you look like a Barbie, but there are things that I can do. And I tell people, I'm like, this is you right now. So we want to capture who you are right now. But if there's things that, you show up and you have a pimple or you're breaking out, I can fix that, because that's not something that you were born with or you're stuck with. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to make you look like you would on a perfect day. You know what I mean? So like,
and I will attest to your editing abilities, because I don't ever want to look airbrushed.
Right.
It's just not, I mean, I am in a business about your online image.
Yeah.
Similar to you in different respects.
Yeah.
I'm all about people showing up as who they are.
Yeah.
And so, I know that, like, when we were there were some things about, like, my wrinkled knees. I mean, I'm almost 60 and I'm like, I don't mind a few, but can you take out a couple? Yeah. And just to make it feel a little better if I'm going to use that as a full length shot on something like that. Right. So, I mean, it's nice that you have that ability and that you can make people feel at ease with that.
Yeah. And I will say that I do have a client that will be coming in shortly who's been talking about doing branding for a year and a half. And she's very, very, very critical of herself, extremely. Yep. And she is one of the most beautiful ladies. Kate, you know her, but she will be coming in shortly. And I've prepared her for all this stuff. I'm like, this is what we're going to do. And even if you don't like the pictures, like, you will love them at the end, and we will get them. And I show people the back of the camera. So if there's something they don't like,
and that's something else that makes you different. Like, especially, I was a professional photographer in a past life.
Yeah.
And so I asked Mandy in advance, I'm like, listen, if you don't do this, I respect that. But if there's a certain shot, if you don't mind showing me the back of the camera, it would help me to see, because I do this for a living in a way too, in a different way, not like you do, but I need to see, because I've got a vision in my head of how I want things to be portrayed on my website and things like that. So I think it's great that you're sort of fully transparent.
Yeah. And I'm very open. I'm very, I'm very trusting of a lot of people, but I'm very, I try to be transparent because of that, because then it helps my clients be transparent with me.
Exactly.
So, and it just makes the whole branding process and the photos, even with families and seniors, it just makes it so much more easy and more fun. So, yeah.
Okay. So for someone who's just starting to build their personal brand, what are the most important types of images they should invest in first? So in other words, somebody might start with the headshot, or maybe it's 3 or 4 shots, but you know what I mean? Like, they're going to come in one outfit and they're going to get a few different poses, maybe with a prop or an iPad or a phone or something. But then there's like the longer version, like we did with me, like a half day, full day, you're changing multiple outfits. You got different little sort of vignettes in your studio. Yeah. So for someone who's just starting out, what are the types they should start with first? Like, they're not ready to go, like, they're not going to jump right into the VIP full day shoot. What would you say they should invest in first, like the types of shots?
So I think this is a horrible answer to this question, but I think it depends on the person and the business, because if you are...
It's not a horrible answer.
I mean, but it is, because it's very roundabout.
No, it's a very sensible answer.
Yeah, but I don't go into my each session with the same mentality. So getting to know my clients and what they're wanting really depends. So I have someone who came in, he got laid off from a government job. And so he needed a headshot, and he was like, this is what I want to look like. This is what I want to feel. And he gets a headshot probably every year, but he's never come to me before. And so he came, and we talked ahead of time about, what he wants to portray and what he wants, you to feel. And so I did a few different things with him, the traditional, like, straight on. He's very soft and very, very friendly. And so I made sure that you caught that in his eyes, and in, like, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to show my teeth. Well, you don't have to show your teeth when you smile, as long as you're showing that you're smiling in your eyes. Like, it's that traditional, like, give me your smiles, you know what I mean? But, and I have squirreled my way around the question. What was the question?
No, it's fine. So let me, I think what you're saying is spot on. So let's just drill in a little bit more, and maybe this will be helpful. The difference between, like, the traditional headshot, a lifestyle shot, and a brand storytelling shot or image.
Okay. So they all are kind of coincide. They all should coincide. Yes. So a headshot is traditionally, I need a headshot for a speaker profile, or for, like right here, nothing crazy. Like, I don't care what you're wearing.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
I actually, in my shoot with Mandy, we never did an actual headshot setup. Right. We took all these other shots, and then when I saw them afterwards, I'm like, this is the one we can crop to be my headshot. So that's something that people might not expect.
Right. Yeah. And I can do that. That's super easy, because there are, especially depending on how you're standing and how you're feeling, there could be like a power pose that you really like, or something like that you're like, oh, I look like a badass. You know what I mean? Like, that's a great headshot, but you're like, oh, well, it's a full body. Well, that's okay. We can crop in. It's easier to crop in than trying to crop out when I don't have anything to work with. Yep. So headshot kind of goes into lifestyle, and lifestyle goes into branding. So they're kind of coincide. So lifestyle is more like, let's say you're a doula. Then we would go to your place of work, or we would shoot, you with your clients. Like, Kate, you have clients, most of them are online. So we didn't shoot you with clients, because I mean, we can screenshot stuff, but it's not the same. Like people are hiring you because of you. So whether that's in a headshot or branding, branding just is encompassing, and we dig in deeper to actually what you offer and who your ideal client is, because it's easier to attract your ideal client when that's what you're putting out, and you're thinking about that the entire time.
Right.
Does that kind of
all right?
Question?
You're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Good.
Just like what you say,
it's fine. It's fine.
I love you dearly, man. In case you all can't tell, I mean, I am, we always talk about, we want to have our raving fans. I am truly a raving fan of Mandy. She did not pay me to say that. If I didn't think that what I got from Mandy was good, I would be like, thank you so much. But I really believe in her style, her approach, and the quality of the images was amazing. And she was just a gem to work with. And I just, I could go on and on. All right. So let's end with a little inspiration, and then we're going to have a little fun. So can you think of a client experience with somebody that you've had recently that shows the power of brand photography in action, like their reaction to it, like a transformation that they realized, or a clarity that they got about something? Just like, what was the aha that a client had when they worked with you? And it may not have shown up until after, when you were looking at the images or when you delivered the edited images.
Mm-hmm. That is a great question.
And I'm sure you get these all the time, and you need to capture these, by the way.
I know. So I feel like it's interesting because people come in assuming they're not going to like their pictures. And just even with headshots, I've got so many comments on, wow, that was so easy and so quick. And then they look at their photos and they're like, oh my gosh, I've never taken that good of a photo before. How'd you do that? And I'm like, it's actually not me, it's you, because I mean, it is me. I let them have their guard down and stuff, but like, it truthfully is people. And I think that people have been conditioned to think that they're bad at taking pictures, and I feel like as of late, I've had a lot of headshots, and almost everyone is so excited with what they get. And I actually had a client who did a branding session, I think it was a few months ago. And she came in, we were going through her photos afterwards. So you do the whole session, and then you come in later and we sit down and we actually go through your photos unedited on a big screen. And so for a woman, that can be very intimidating because you're looking at all your flaws. And I reassured her, I was like, listen, there might be things in here, like you might have, I might have posed you in a certain way that makes you look a little bit bigger. That is my fault. So I always take it off of the client, because truthfully, it's how I pose them. Yeah. Like, it's actually not how they look. So that was totally my fault. So I will say that in certain situations. And I'm like, I want you to be completely honest with me. Like, I want you to tell me what you don't like. If it's something that I can fix or that was my fault, I will totally fix it. I'm not going to make you look 20 if you're 62, but I will also not make you look 80 if you're 62. You know what I mean? So like, having that balance is good. And I'm very, very open with my clients. So, but she came in and she was very emotional about the pictures, because she was like, I'm so hard on myself, and I don't know. And I had edited one picture just so that she can see what it looks like. Right. And she was like, wow, that's doctored up a lot, but it doesn't look like it. And I said, because it's not. I'm just finessing what you already have. And so it was super cool to see her response, like, oh, that's what they're going to look like. And then it like eased her whole body. Like, you could see her just like melt down and be like, oh, okay. And then it was easier for her to imagine what her pictures will look like.
Right.
So,
right.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to segue a little bit here into having a little bit of fun, because I knew I could have some fun with Mandy. So just as an FYI, so Mandy is an absolute Friends fanatic. Like, she even has the replica couch in her studio, the orange couch. And one of the things that she did during COVID is she's a master at newborn photography. Like, she's really good. And she did, how many, did you have 6, 7, maybe?
Yeah. I'm trying to find it on my phone. I can't pull it on.
Yeah. Well, you can Google it too, I'm sure. So Mandy did this. She took all these newborns, actual newborn babies, and she dressed each one as one of the Friends characters. So she had Chandler. Yeah, can you put it closer?
Can you see?
Put it even closer to your camera. A little more a little closer. You're almost there. Okay. Oh my God. Can you see that? So she dressed up each one. She put little props in and stuff, and it went viral online, and it was actually featured on Good Morning America. So if you want to do Friends, newborn babies, Good Morning America or something on Google, go check it out. It's just incredible. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is not to drop names. It's because Mandy is incredibly creative. She also is a member of the Professional Photographers Association of America. Did I get that right?
Yep. Professional Photographers of America.
So she actually made this dress. Again, I wish we had the image. Literally out of pages of the magazine, and she created it on a mannequin. And it's how many pages?
I don't know the pages. It took me 120 hours.
120 hours. She folded them all a certain way. She made it so she could wear it. And then she put it out online, and then PPA got a hold of it, and they brought her to an event recently where she modeled this dress, and this dress is literally being showcased in their headquarters at their office.
Yeah.
And if you can find it, Mandy, while we're talking, that would be awesome.
Okay, this is it.
There it is. Look at this. That is all done. Put a little closer.
Okay.
It's all done by hand. And it's just extraordinary. And she has this time-lapse video of making it, but 120 hours to create this.
It's ridiculous.
So she is like creative on steroids.
I really am. I really
am. And so she brings that creativity to you. Now, I'm not saying she's going to dress you up as a Friends baby or put on a,
unless that's your brand, then we'll totally, I'm not against it.
Right. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to kind of segue with your creativity. Okay. So let's have a little fun here. I've got 3 fun little questions. There's no right or wrongs here. Just totally be quirky. Okay. If your camera could talk, what would it say about you?
I feel like my camera.
Oh, come on, Miss Creative.
That I talk to it like a human being.
Okay.
And then I cuss it a lot. I mean, I really do.
See?
I really do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like AI.
I know.
It's a great tool, and it can really tick you off sometimes.
It can really make you mad. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If anybody's listening and wants to ask a fun little question, just put it in the chat. If you could photograph anyone, living or historical, for a personal brand session, who would it be and why?
I was just talking to someone kind of about this the other day, and I would want to shoot Idris Elba.
Who?
Idris Elba. He is a actor. He is gorgeous, and he has the coolest accent, and he is so interesting. And I've seen him on like multiple, you know when you're like doing the death scroll, he pops up a lot. He is he's in so many things, but he's in the Marvel movie, and he's like the gatekeeper in 4 movies. He's this tall, handsome black man, gorgeous. But I think that he'd be super cool to shoot. I just love him. So
that's a great answer.
Who I'd pick.
All right. Okay. What's always in your camera bag besides your camera?
I'm like, let me go grab it.
A little behind the scenes here, Mandy.
I always have chapstick.
Okay.
Never have business cards. If that's what you want to know.
You need business cards.
People ask me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably bring those. So I actually, the other day, I put them in there. I put them in my purse, and I put them in my camera bag, my computer bag, and my car. So hopefully, if people ask me, I'll have them. But I would say I have chapstick, and I have an extra battery charger, because inevitably my batteries die.
Oh, when I used to be doing professional photography, and I was doing video at one point, and I would do it. I lived in Stowe, Vermont, so I would do it in the winter skiing. I used to have batteries up the wazoo because they would die so fast.
Oh yeah.
Cold. And I used to duct tape them to my body.
Did you really?
I did. I had them in my arm. I mean, my batteries were long.
Oh,
they were heavy. I had like 5 or 6 of them. Oh, always extra batteries. Oh my God, I love that. Okay.
That's awesome.
So we're going to talk about how people can reach out to you, but I want to plug your upcoming Power Shot event. So Mandy is doing this cool event, which is kind of like when we were coming up with the name, we came up with the Power Shot. So that's the name of her event. So tell us about that. And it's on Wednesday, May 21st. It's in Colorado Springs. Yep. You're only taking like 6 or 7 people?
I believe it's 6. I believe it's 7, actually.
Okay.
So, but each session
for a 1-hour session.
Technically, each session is an hour. The first 20 or 30 minutes, you actually get to hang out with Kim. You come with your hair and makeup
person, makeup and hair. Yep.
Kim Clay, and she will touch that up. She'll give you lashes if you want them. She'll make your hair look perfect. You know, so she's not doing it from beginning to end, but she will do touch-ups and touch up your lips and give you some more contour and stuff. She's amazing. So she will be doing like the beginning of it, and then after that I'll have 4 different setups in the studio, and we've kind of gone over what those are going to be. I haven't shot them yet, but there's going to be 4 different setups in the studio. You get to pick out of those. It's a certain fee to book. You get 1 headshot, but then you also have an option to book more. So it's just a great way to have an introduction into what I offer via branding. You get to meet Kim, who's amazing, and then Kate's going to be there to be my right hand woman. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah,
that's going to be a fun event, and I think what we're trying to do is to get people to see Mandy's style and approach. So it's going to be kind of fun. There's going to be these hour-long sessions. When somebody comes in and they're sitting in the makeup chair, they can kind of see what Mandy's doing with the person who's in front of the lens, and then rotate it through. So it's going to be really fun. So it's Wednesday, May 21st, Colorado Springs, 8:30 to 3 p.m. Mountain Time. And if you want to book a time with Mandy, then Jim, can you please put up Mandy's email, please? Yeah. And so email hello@mandypenn.com. And then she can send you information about the cost and all of that. So also Mandy wrote a book, a collaborative book called The Hands They Were Dealt, Inspirational Stories of Overcoming the Odds. And you can get the Kindle version on Amazon. And Jim actually put on LinkedIn and on YouTube, he put that in the chat for the actual link to Amazon for the Kindle. It's a beautiful book.
Thank you.
It's great stories with great images that Mandy took, no surprise. I went to her book launch and it was really cool. Yep. And so where else can people find you, Mandy?
So I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn's bomb because of someone over here. And so LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram occasionally. You can always text me and we can set up a 1-to-1. You can come into the studio. I can give you a tour. I've got, I love my studio. It makes my heart.
Mandy, will you travel? Like if somebody's watching this from Atlanta and they're like, I really want to talk to her.
Yeah.
Obviously there'd be a fee about that, but would you travel for people?
Yes. I'd love to travel. I think that would be awesome. I have been traveling a little bit this year. I'll be going to Dallas occasionally because I just got,
She's a brand new managing director for eWomen Network.
eWomen Network in Colorado Springs. So they have trainings down there. So I'll be there probably a few times a year, as well as their conference. And then, I love travel. So buy me a plane ticket and put me up and we'll get it going. So yeah, I would love to do that.
Great. Well, Mandy, I just think the world of you. And I think that if anybody, and if you can't work with Mandy because of logistics, take into account the tips that she gave you. It really is all about showing up as you. We've talked about how we're not in whether it's my helping you create your personal brand or it's Mandy helping you with your imagery to convey your personal brand. It's not about packaging you. Like you're not a box of cereal or a pair of shoes. It's who you are. It's what you know. It's your credentials. It's the solution you offer to your clients and customers, and let's let that show through in your imagery. So feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to Mandy. Mandy, anything you want to add before we end this great episode?
No, I don't know. I'm so passionate about what I do and I love it, and I am just so thankful for people like Kate who advocate for me. You know, I was talking to some ladies, Kate, I'm just going to be transparent. And they were like, you were at an event last week and you just were talking me up like crazy. And I love clients that love me and that love what I offer. So that just means a lot. And thank you for having me on. And
you're so welcome. You're very welcome, Mandy. All right, everybody, please ask questions. You can do so in the replay. The replay will show up on my Facebook, my LinkedIn, and YouTube. And if anybody's watching this on the replay, which most people do watch on the replay, feel free to ask a question in the chat. Just tag at Mandy Penn or at Kate Payne. And, we can answer a question at any point. And certainly feel free to reach out to Mandy. And in the meantime, thank you, Mandy, for having coffee with me.
Thank you for having me with you.
And we'll all see you here. We're going to probably be doing 2 or 3 episodes in the next few weeks because I'm going to be off for about 2 or 3 weeks because I'm expecting my first grandbaby. So I'm getting a bunch of episodes in all at once. So Mandy, please stay online. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Coffee with Kate.
Bye.